For years, this recording was sealed, labeled as too unusual, too unsettling to be released to the public. The official report simply stated unexplained phenomenon. But tonight, we're opening the archives. Welcome to Shadow Archives, where we delve into the cases that defy explanation. Tonight's file number, Ocho. The Black Box Anomaly. The year is 1999. A commercial airliner, Flight 734, is on a routine cross-country journey. The sky is clear. The winds are calm. About halfway through the flight, the plane hits a patch of minor turbulence. The seatbelt sign dings on. The captain makes a calm announcement, and a few minutes later, the shaking stops. For the passengers and the crew, it's a non-event, something they've all experienced a dozen times before. The rest of the flight is smooth, uneventful. The plane lands safely at its destination, on time, without a single incident. Everyone deplanes, collects their luggage, and goes on with their lives. End of story. Right, not even close. This is where the story truly begins. Standard procedure after any reported turbulence, no matter how minor, is to review the aircraft's two most important storytellers: the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder. Together, they're known as the Black Boxers. These devices are built to be nearly indestructible, designed to survive unimaginable impact and intense fire. They are the silent witnesses in the sky, recording every critical detail of a flight. And what the investigators found on Flight 734's black box would turn a routine check into one of the most baffling aviation mysteries of the modern era. They downloaded the data, expecting to find nothing more than a few bumps on a graph corresponding to the turbulence. The flight data was normal, but the cockpit voice recorder, that was a different story. The audio starts as expected. You can hear the low hum of the engines, the occasional click of a switch. The captain and the co-pilot are chatting casually, their voices steady and professional. They note the turbulence, exchange a few words about their altitude, and then the shaking subsides. Everything is exactly as it should be. And then it happens. For 12 seconds, the recording changes. The background hum remains. The pilots are silent, but a third voice enters the recording. It's a voice that doesn't belong. It's not a passenger, not a flight attendant, not another pilot on the radio. This voice is something else entirely. It speaks slowly, with a strange, distorted cadence that makes the hairs on your arms stand up. The words are crystal clear, devoid of any static or interference. The voice says, "You are not supposed to be here." Just 12 seconds. 12 seconds of audio that should not exist. After those words are spoken, the recording returns to normal. The pilots resume their conversation as if nothing happened. The rest of the audio file is completely unremarkable, right up until the plane's engines shut down at the gate. The investigators were stunned. They listened to it again. And again, the voice was undeniably there, captured with perfect clarity. Their first priority was to interview the flight crew. They brought in the captain and the co-pilot, both seasoned veterans with thousands of flight hours between them. They played them the recording. The pilots listened, their faces growing pale. They swore on their careers. They had heard nothing. There was no third person in the cockpit, no open radio transmission, no strange sounds other than the normal operations of the aircraft. They insisted that the flight was, from their perspective, completely normal. The investigators then questioned the flight attendants. Same story. Nothing out of the ordinary. They even managed to track down and speak with several passengers who were on the flight. Not a single person remembered anything unusual. No strange voices over the intercom. Nothing. It was a ghost on the tape, heard only by the black box. This is where the investigation deepened. The audio file was sent to the world's top sound engineers and forensic audio analysts. They were tasked with one job: identify the source of the voice. The first theory was radio bleed, where a signal from another frequency accidentally leaks into their transmission. They analyzed the entire radio spectrum for that time and location. Nothing. There were no other aircraft close enough, no military transmissions, no powerful ground-based broadcasts that could have caused such an interference. The voice didn't have the telltale signs of a radio signal. It was too clean, too present. It sounded like it was spoken by someone standing right next to the microphone. Next, They explored the possibility of a malfunction within the cockpit voice recorder itself. Could some bizarre electronic glitch have created a phantom voice? The device was taken apart, piece by piece, and examined under a microscope. It was in perfect working order. Its internal diagnostics showed no errors. They even tried to replicate the effect in a lab, subjecting similar devices to all sorts of electrical and magnetic interference. They couldn't do it. The black box had simply recorded what it heard. What about a deliberate hoax? Could someone on the crew have been playing a prank? This was quickly ruled out. The pilot's shocked reactions were deemed genuine, and a prank of this nature would be a fireable offense, if not a federal crime. Plus, the nature of the voice itself was a major problem. Forensic analysis of the voice's frequency and harmonics produced a result that baffled everyone. The waveform didn't align with the known patterns of human speech. It had qualities that were, for lack of a better term, unnatural. The slow, distorted tone wasn't just someone speaking slowly. The very structure of the sound was wrong. It had no match in any voice database on the planet. So, let's recap. We have a voice, recorded with perfect clarity inside a secure cockpit that no one on the plane heard. It wasn't a radio signal. It wasn't a mechanical malfunction. It wasn't a human voice, as we know it. It spoke a clear, chilling message, and then vanished without a trace. The official investigation hit a wall, with no logical explanation. They were forced to close the case. The anomaly was officially classified as unattributed cockpit transmission Case 08. The report was filed, the audio was sealed, and the mystery was quietly buried in a government archive. But the story doesn't end there. For years, whispers of Case 08 circulated among pilots, air traffic controllers, and aviation investigators. It became a kind of modern ghost story, a cautionary tale about the things we can't explain, even in our highly technological world. Some believe it was a message from another dimension, a momentary tear in the fabric of reality, where our world brushed up against another. Others propose it was an unknown atmospheric phenomenon, some kind of freak natural event that can mimic human speech. And, of course, there are those who believe it was extraterrestrial in origin, a brief, accidental communication from something not of this world. The phrase itself, "You are not supposed to be here," is what makes this case so deeply unsettling. It's not just random noise. It's an intelligent statement. It implies awareness. It implies that the airplane, by being in that specific patch of sky at that specific moment, had trespassed into a space where it did not belong. What space was that? A place outside our understanding, a wrinkle in time. We can only speculate. Those 12 seconds of audio challenge our understanding of the world. They serve as a stark reminder that no matter how much we map the globe, master the skies, and advance our technology, there are still shadows in the corners of our knowledge. There are still signals that we can't trace, and voices that we can't identify, too. For those who dare to search the unknown, File 8, the Black Box Anomaly, remains closed but not forgotten. What do you think happened on that flight? What was that voice? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for diving into the archives with me. If you enjoy exploring the unexplained, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next file. Stay curious and stay safe.